Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Courtside Soundoff podcast today. I'm Josh Evanoff. He's Angel Ortega. There's a lot of stuff to talk about this week. UFC Fight Island, UFC Vegas 4, Invicta, NBA, NFL, boxing. Tons of stuff to talk about. Before we get into that, I want to talk about Fight Plus. Fight Plus provides a special selection of premium events for boxing, MMA, pro wrestling, and other combat sports. Watch pay-per-view events from over 25 promotions 30 days after airing. Fight Plus includes organizations like Brave FC, Unified MMA, UC MMA, CCW, BKB, FSW, VCB Boxing, Kunlun, and much, much more. Available for your viewing pleasure. Cancel anytime. If you guys want a Fight Plus 7-day free trial, you can go through the links that are available on our Podbean, on our YouTube page, or anywhere you can really find us. You can click through, get the free trial, and watch some amazing events for 7 days. You will get charged afterwards, but you can cancel after that time if you want. Last Saturday night, a true fight of the year contender in the main event of UFC Vegas 4. Dustin the Diamond Poirier picking up a unanimous decision victory over Dan Hooker. Probably, for sure, in the fight of the year conversation, like I just said. But man, the first two rounds, I think, are some of the greatest rounds I've ever seen. 3, 4, and 5 kind of slowed down. And honestly, I thought Dan Hooker came out really, really strong. I thought he took the first two rounds, arguably. But then the last three, man, Dustin, he weathered the storm. He recovered. He took a bit of a beating in those first two rounds. Like, he really did. He ate a lot of shots. For those last three rounds, he did some great work, especially to the body to help drain Hooker's gas tank. And then in the fifth round, it was all Dustin to get the win. Angel, just how impressed were you by Dustin Poirier's performance on Saturday night?
I mean, it just shows why he was the interim champ at one point. He came through that adversity. He came back in those last rounds, and he looked great. It was a bit scary, though. I'll tell you that. I did not expect it to be Dan Hooker at the start. So, I mean, kudos to him because, I mean, that just shows there's potential there. But, man, I definitely was like, okay, this is going the way I'm thinking. But, you know, he rallied, he came back, collected himself, and pulled through with the win. And, I mean, it was a clear W for me, at least in my eyes. You know, I'm sure. I don't know if there was. I don't really know if there was any argument for Dan. Did you see anything? I don't think there was there?
I saw a couple of MMA hipsters on Twitter, but outside of that, no.
Okay, we're good then.
Yeah, very rarely am I just super impressed with somebody who loses a fight, but I was really impressed with Dan Hooker, man. Like, I'll be honest, I've never been on the Dan Hooker train. It could just be because I've watched him for a long time. And he's always been a guy that loses to the top competition. Like, he'll beat the guys who are not. And yeah, he did lose on Saturday, but it's like he'll beat some guys like, you know, he'll beat the Ross Pearsons, the Jim Millers, the Mark Editios, but then he'll lose to Yair Rodriguez, Jason Knight, Edson Barboza. And I even thought he lost last time out against Paul Felder. And then going into this one, like, you know, Dustin Poirier, you know, former champ. You know, top guy in the division, amazing boxing. I thought he'd probably get Dan out of there. I just thought Dan was too hittable. And instead, the first two rounds before he gassed out, I thought Dan looked phenomenal. You know, I thought he nearly finished Dustin at the end of the second round. He looked damn good. And I knew he had a chin on him, but he took a lot of punishment in those last few rounds. And I got to give props to the man. Like, very rarely am I as impressed as somebody in a loss that I was with Dan Hooker. But still, great win for Dustin Poirier. We'll talk more about where he goes, like, in a few minutes, from where he goes after the main event win. But in the co-main event, the people's main event of the evening, Mike Perry, Mickey Gall. Mike Perry with no other corner, like no person in his corner outside of his girlfriend, LaToya Gonzalez. And he goes out there and really just dominates Mickey Gall. I thought Mickey had a really, really good first round. I thought he looked great on the feet, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this whole thing was going to be a really bad idea for Mike. Like, we all memed about it, but this seems like it's a really bad idea for Mike out of that first round because Mickey looked sharp on the feet. He was landing a lot of hard shots, and Mickey Gall, he's not the most polished guy on the feet, but the dude has power. And, you know, Mike was trying to walk him down, but he was eating a lot of shots. He got cut open. Second round, though, that's when everything changed. Mike started going to the body. He started wearing him down. He started landing some more overhand rights. And eventually he knocked Mickey down at the end of the second round, stole the round, And then from there, after he knocked him down, it was all Mike Perry. Third round, he dominated him on the mat, too. He beat the hell out of Mickey Gall in the last 2 rounds, earned a unanimous decision victory. Angel, does this make Tori Gonzalez the coach of the year?
You might have a good argument. Let's put it like that. You might have a really good argument this year.
She is undefeated. No, but how impressed were you by Mike, man? I mean, I know that we've been on the platinum train ever since he came into the UFC, but
let me tell you this. I as soon as I saw it go to the ground, I'm like, fuck. And then it was the complete opposite of that. Mike was getting positions. Mike was getting on top. He wasn't. I didn't think he would submit Mickey. I think Mickey's obviously too good, very up there to avoid that, especially from. But there was a couple times where Mike was threatening though, to do something. He just didn't have the full grasp maybe of the concept and couldn't pull through with it. But he was talking shit to Mickey on there. He's like, "I'm gonna submit you. I'm gonna make you tap." It was funny. But yeah, dude, I was kind of impressed. On the ground, there's a couple times, and then he got out of some. I think Mickey had one really good submission attempt.
It was a triangle. In the last 20 seconds, he nearly got him with the triangle.
Well, no, and then he had another one. I think he had a good just guillotine, right? Was it guillotine?
I remember he had a first round Kimura.
We also had
a Kimura.
That or he had a rear naked choke. He had something. He had another good one there in the middle at one point where he had Mike's head on the ground.
I think it was a guillotine. It was in the second round. I think Mike took him down and he went for a guillotine.
Yeah, and it looked pretty good, and Mike got out of that. And I thought as soon as Mike got into those positions, this would be over. But no, it was the complete opposite. He looked pretty good on the not I wouldn't say he was no jiu-jitsu black belt on the ground, but definitely didn't look bad.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he has all the intangibles. He said that he just needs somebody to be there and just tell him he's doing great. Offer very basic fundamentals. I mean, Tori Gonzalez, God bless her. I think the most she did was keep your hands up. I think that's one of the few things she said to him. But he looked good on the ground. He looked good on the feet. He ate Mickey's best punches and he just kept on walking him down. And honestly, in the final 30 seconds, whenever Mickey slapped on that triangle, I thought he had it, man. I was getting some serious Chael Sonnen Anderson Silva vibes. Obviously, it's not the high stakes of a championship and two of the greatest middleweights of all time going at it. It's a meme fight on a normal UFC fight card, but I was still getting serious at vibes. And then Mike slipped out of it, did a really great job maneuvering. He looked great, man. I was really happy for Mike Perry. He was as jovial as we've ever seen him, and I'm like, you know what? Good for those guys. Everybody was dunking on him this week. Good for them. Except with the exception of us, because we're massive Mike Perry fans, and also now chanting for Tori Gonzalez Coach of the Year. But outside of the main and co-main, is there anything else on the undercard that you want to talk about? Because there was a couple of stuff I thought happened that was either hilarious or just good to talk about.
Oh, dude, the Luis Pena Karma Worthy situation, bro. I am so heartbroken. Shout out to Karma Worthy for pulling out the submission. That was very impressive. No hate. He looked good that entire fight, and I mean, it looked like it was going to go Karma's way. But man, did I have hope for our boy Violent Bob Ross, but it did not happen. It's all good though. Karma looked good, and hopefully he can get a good next fight. I can't wait to see him again because he really impressed me.
Yeah, Kama Worthy, he's a guy that's been around in the game for a long time. And then he came into the UFC on really short notice to fight Devonta Smith. And, Devonta Smith, there was a lot of hype behind him, man. I remember going into that, Kama Worthy was he was a plus 600 underdog or something. And, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he was I think he was 14-6 going into that fight. But still, he knocked him out inside of a minute. And then he was the underdog again to Luis Pena. And he ended up submitting him, having a great fight there. He should probably be in the rankings at this point, man. The kid has done some great stuff as of late. And if he's not, I don't think he's in the rankings because lightweight is just a ridiculous weight class. He should be facing somebody to kind of get him near the rankings. But this kid's been around a long time. He fought Paul Felder years ago on the regional scene. He's fought a lot of future UFC dudes. He's had a rough go of it, but I'm happy to see him on this stretch. I thought the funniest thing I've seen in a UFC fight in a long time was Maurice Green versus John Vellante. Maurice Green submitting John Vellante pretty much via exhaustion. I'm aware that, okay, so Maurice Green and John Vellante, pretty meh fight. I'd say Maurice Green, he was doing the better work. He was landing the cleaner shots inside the first 2 rounds. I thought John was doing a good job. He was trying to walk him down, but he wasn't landing a whole lot because, he's a light heavyweight fighting at heavyweight. In the third round, though, he knocked him down, nearly got the finish, and eventually John Vellante just kind of moved into half guard, tried to pretty much just lay on him, probably just go to a decision. In the final minute, Maurice Green, from the bottom, slaps on an arm triangle. Now, normally, that would pretty much be called an Ezekiel choke. Ezekiel choke is whenever you have somebody, they're in mount, and you kind of just grab them onto them the back. Alexei Oleinik is the guy who normally does the Ezekiel chokes. This was not that. Maurice Green just grabbed on to John Vellante while John was in half guard, and he just kind of squeezed a little bit. It was all it took. He submitted him. Like, it took the commentators, the referees, the judges. It took everybody at least 5 minutes. Like, normally they sit there and they're grabbing the scorecards, they're grabbing the time, all the stuff. It took like at least a few extra minutes for them to figure out what exactly happened, because they have to say submission via whatever. It took them at least 5 minutes to figure out what exactly he submitted him with, because it doesn't look like he was doing anything. So that was, good win for Maurice Green, man. He's a good guy, so I'm happy to see him get the win. But the other thing, the last thing I want to talk about, my girl Kay Hansen. I told you guys, you got to watch out for this girl. And she was facing Jinyu Fry, girl who's been around for a long time, former atomweight champion Invicta, former Ryzen fighter. Kay Hansen getting probably my favorite submission of the night outside of Maurice Green, John Vellante. Her grappling looked phenomenal. She trains at 10th Planet. I've told you guys for this for a while now. Still only 20 years old and getting the win and getting the performance of the night bonus. So shout out to her for the win. But yeah, there's a couple other stuff on the card, but that was stuff we really want to talk about. Now moving on to Fight Island talk, boys. We are a week out from Fight Island officially going down. 4 weeks of UFC fights on an island out in Abu Dhabi, Yas Island. Now, UFC 251 is next week, and we are going to talk a little bit about UFC 251. But with all the focus being on 251 and the 3 title fights, what I wanted to do was, ahead of that, ahead of all the fights going down, I wanted to give a little bit of focus on the other fights, because we haven't talked about, there's 3 other fight cards that are going down during those 4 weeks at Yas Island. What is the best fight card outside of UFC 251? Because you have a couple of really, really good ones in there. Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige, Joseph Benavidez, Figueiredo 2 for the flyweight title, and Darren Till versus Robert Whittaker, all happening. Of those, 3 fight cards, what would you say is the one you're most excited for?
I probably have to say Fight Night 174, which is being headlined by Whittaker and Till. I like that the most. Has Alex Oliveira, got the return of Gus, Fabricio for the comeback, and then we got Betch Kohei on the early prelims. We get to see her again if she decides to make weight. So I for me, that's personally the one that I'm the most excited for.
Betch the GOAT, Kohei. Yeah, that's an awesome card, man. I think Whittaker Till is about as good as a good fight you're gonna get, and then Shogun and Little Nog, the trilogy. Alex Oliveira's, Peter Sabata. That one's going to be a really, really fun one. And then Gus is back. Very great card. My opinion, though, I personally think I'm slightly more excited for Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige. That is the second fight night card that's going to be happening on Yas Island. It's happening only a few days after UFC 251. I think it's happening on a Wednesday. And on that one, Calvin Kattar, Dan Ige. 2, in my opinion, like boxing-wise, 2 of the greatest guys in the promotion. Dan Ige is riding a 6-fight winning streak. He beat, quote-unquote, Edson Barboza last time out. I thought he lost that one. He beat Mirsad Bektik before that, Kevin Aguilar. He's on a really great streak. Calvin Kattar, on the other hand, last time out, knocked out Jeremy Stevens not that long ago. He knocked him out at UFC 249 in May. And then he lost to Zabit, controversially, I might add. And then he beat Ricardo Lamas and Chris Fishgold before that. In my opinion, the greatest pure boxer in the UFC. And this is a really great fight to kind of help usher in whoever is going to, kind of move on to title contention in the UFC. Both guys are pretty young. Both guys have a lot of potential, but both guys have yet to face the top 5 in the promotion. Also on the card, though, Pedro Munoz, Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar moving down to bantamweight, which is crazy. The guy used to be a UFC lightweight champion, but he lost 3 of his last 4 at featherweight, including, all of his losses were pretty bad, too. He got knocked out by Chan Sung Jung, got knocked out by Brian Ortega, and then the Max Holloway fight, he just couldn't touch Max for the entire 5 rounds, so pretty bad losses. So he's moving down. He's facing Pedro Munoz. Pedro is one of the best guys in that division. He's ranked number 7. Knocked out Cody Garbrandt, knocked out Brian Caraway, beat Rob Font. He has a lot of really good names. Ran into Aljamain Sterling a couple months back, but still a very, very high-quality fighter. And then other fights such as Carlos Barza, Marina Rodriguez, Chris Fishgold, Jared Gordon, Molly McCann's back, Tim Elliott, Ryan Benoit, which is a really, really good fight. Probably one of my most favorite fights to happen. Abdul Hazak Al Hassan is back. This dude is the most dangerous. Very rarely do we see anybody with the power like Al Hassan has. He has 11 fights, Of all those fights, he has 1 loss. It was to Amiri Akhmedov. It was a split decision, kind of a boring fight. Outside of that, every single one of his fights, he's won by knockout in the first round. Some of those, just in seconds. Sabah Halmasi, he knocked out Charlie Ward in 53 seconds. His last time out, he knocked out Nico Price in 43 seconds in one of the greatest 1-minute fights I've ever seen. Basically, there's 3 punches at each other. It landed every single one. That was an amazing fight, and he's finally back after a very controversial legal situation, which I'm not exactly going to get into because there's no point. But yeah, he's back. He's been cleared of that. Finally back, and a win here probably put him in the rankings. So it's an awesome fight right there. But outside of, now we talked about cards as a whole, what is the best fight as a whole across all 4 weeks of Fight Island? I'm not even talking about fight card. I'm talking fight as a whole, and 251's included here. So what is the one you're most excited for?
Oh boy.
I know it's a lot of pressure, but if you were to just throw one out there from any card.
See, the thing is, there's one card on here that's not too long from now that has multiple fights that I think you can make that argument for. Let's put it like that. Man, but I think it's too hard to narrow it down to one. But I think
let's do top 3 then.
Oh, top 3. Okay, so. For me, obviously Max, the return of Max. It's Rose Andrade, and then what's it called? Till Whitaker.
Ooh, that's a really good top 3.
It's not. But let me say this: it hurts me because I wish I could put Kamaru Burns in there because I think that's just as good. But I like the story for the first 2, and then who doesn't love some Darren Till?
Darren Till, Robert Whitaker, I said it earlier, that's probably one of the greatest matchups we're going to get all year.
Yeah, that's a straight banger.
That's a certified banger right there. I'm a little bit worried that'll be, people hated Darren Till and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson way back in the day because it was just 2 guys being very, very technical and not really liking it. But I think that one, I'm a little bit worried people were going to hate that one because it'd probably just be 2 guys that are really technical going at it. And sometimes fans don't appreciate that. I still think it's going to be an awesome fight, though. Now that we narrowed it to a top 3, I'm really glad because I could throw in some of my hipster picks because I didn't even know the answer when I asked you that question of my favorite fight, so I could throw in 3. Peter Yan, Jose Aldo. I don't think either one of these guys should be getting a bantamweight title shot, and yet here they are fighting for the vacant title. But with that being said, this is one of the greatest striking matchups I feel like we're gonna see in a long, long time, in years. Jose Aldo is one of the greatest strikers in the UFC, man. He's so entertaining. He's never been in a bad fight outside of the Alexander Volkanovski. Let me take this back. Outside of the Alexander Volkanovski fight, that fight sucked. And no offense to Volkanovski, he's been in a lot of kind of not super entertaining bouts lately. But I still think Jose Aldo is still one of the most entertaining guys. I thought he beat Marlon Moraes. Even then, Peter Yan, I also think doesn't deserve to be here. He's the best guy he's beaten was a 41-year-old Uriah Faber. Regardless, still a super entertaining guy, a very fun striking matchup. So I'm going to throw that one there in my top 3. The other one, Deiveson Figueiredo versus Joseph Benavidez too, man. That first fight was a really, really fun fight, and I think like this one's to determine the flyweight champ after Cejudo is officially gone. I'm really, really excited for that one. I thought the first fight was amazing, and I really want to see if Joseph Benavidez can get his redemption. Obviously Figueiredo missed weight, and obviously there was a headbutt situation, which led to Benavidez being knocked out. So it's controversy all around in that one. So really, really fun fight. And I really want to pick Whittaker Till. I really, really do, because you said it. But if you said it, you're giving it the shine. I'm going to go Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns. That fight is, I honestly don't even know who to pick. We're a week out, and I still have no idea. Gilbert Burns is as hot as a fighter as we have seen in a long time. He's just on such a tear right now. It's hard not to pick him. And then he was also trained with Kamaru Usman. But Kamaru Usman also on one of the greatest tears we've seen in the UFC in a long time. Long time. And he's just dominating virtually everybody outside of Colby Covington in the UFC. He literally has. Leon Edwards, Warley Alvarez, Emil Meek, the GOAT, Damian Maia, Rafael dos Anjos, Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington. The dude has all the names. And he just moved, if you guys don't know, he's moved camps to he left American Top Team, to go train with Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje out in Colorado. I am really, really excited to see what Trevor Whitman can do, who in my opinion is the greatest MMA coach in the moment. I'm really excited to see what he can do with Kamaru Usman striking, because the guy has a lot of great technical ability and a lot of power. So I'm really, really excited to see what he can do out there in Colorado with Whitman and Gaethje. But, yeah, I believe that's all we got for UFC Talk this week. Really just going to give a quick shout-out to all the other MMA event happening this week, the only MMA event happening this week, Invicta FC 40 happening out in Kansas City, Kansas. I cannot go because there's no media allowed, but there's a couple of bangers. Emily Ducote, Juliana Lima is fighting. That's an awesome fight right there. Emily Ducote, who in my opinion should be the Invicta strawweight champion at the moment. She fought in Bellator. She had a couple of really good fights against Ilima-Lei Macfarlane way back in the day. And her last fight out was an awesome fight for the title. She came up short. Juliana Lima is a former UFC vet. She's fighting in the main event against Ducote. Also got to give a quick shout out. Alicia Zapatella. That girl has a lot of potential at atomweight, and I really wish there's a lot of really good atomweight fighters in Invicta that I wish UFC would open up an atomweight division for, because there's a lot of small strawweights as well. Michelle Watson probably moved down if they open up that division as well. There's a lot of really good fighters at strawweight who are too small. I think they'd have a lot more success at atomweight, but the UFC doesn't want to bring it in, but whatever. But yeah, that's happening, I believe, Friday, Either tomorrow or Friday. Honestly, don't remember. But yeah, that's an awesome fight card, and it's on UFC Fight Pass. So quick shout out to Invicta FC. Anyway, to move on to the NBA. One of the more interesting stories, in my opinion, the NBA released their schedule, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but for that schedule, we're going to see the Brooklyn Nets, who are totally going to make the playoffs. I believe they're the 7th seed. I believe they're safe. The only other, actually technically Washington. Washington is the only team going out that's not a part of the playoff picture right now, because they are technically eligible, but I believe they're 6 games behind and there's only 8 games to play. So virtually eliminated. It would take pretty much a miracle for Washington to make it. But they very well may get that miracle to make the playoffs, because the Brooklyn Nets have nobody to start the season. Kevin Durant injured. There's some people talking about how KD may come back, because he's had this extra time to heal. He should be healthy enough to come back, but he does not want to rush it. Nobody blames him. Kyrie Irving, also injured, but even then, he would be sitting out even if he was not injured, because he was the person that was leading the charge for the NBA to not come back due to the racial situation going on in the U.S. Wilson Chandler, also sitting out. He's going to sit out to enjoy time with his family. You know, a lot of players are choosing to sit out. Makes sense. Nick Claxton, their young guard. He's also injured. He got shoulder surgery last week. During the restart, a lot of players took the time to go ahead and, if they were banged up, get surgery, and because they didn't think the season would come back. He's one of those guys. And then the two that just also got announced in the last day or so, DeAndre Jordan tested positive for the coronavirus for, I believe, the 2nd time. And so he said that he is not going to play during the season restart. Spencer Dinwiddie he also tested positive for the coronavirus. And he said he doesn't know if he's going to play, but as of right now, it does not look likely. Angel, I pass it to you. What the fuck should the Brooklyn Nets do?
Let me tell you this. It's not like any of those guys were playing for the most part, except like Spencer Dinwiddie. So I honestly don't feel different.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, three of those guys you name, actually 4, or maybe even arguably 5 of those guys weren't even already playing. So, I mean, this should be fine. They'll hold up.
Fair enough. But even then, some of those guys are bench guys like Claxton, Chandler, Jordan, and they kind of don't really have much of a bench situation. And I read somewhere that there are more players. These are just the ones I could find that are not going to be for the Nets during the season restart. But
they'll figure it out. They'll sign LiAngelo Ball. They'll be fine.
That man is actually a part of the Oklahoma City Blues, mind you. So watch your tone, sir. He's gonna be on the Thunder season restart.
Hopefully, imagine.
dude, I'm really hoping for it, right? Because we actually don't have a single player who's actually said they're not gonna come. So we're pretty fortunate for that. But
imagine having a Oklahoma City Thunder shirt that says "Ball" on the back for LiAngelo Ball.
Having a jersey, yeah. Well, you know what? I really want to. I think it's a reasonable possibility. Like it require one of our players get testing positive or some situation. But even then, he never even played for us. We signed him and then the season ended. The G League season ended. So he's technically never even played for our G League team. He's just signed. But whatever. If you were in charge of the Brooklyn Nets, you'd just go as normal right now. You would not look into signing.
Obviously, it's time some two-way players. Pray to God everything works out, and let's hold it down, boys. I mean, it's not like we're going anywhere.
Fair enough. Still, as of right now, Jamal Crawford has yet to been signed, which is just insane to me. Like, I still don't understand that. Like, there's some players that are getting signed where it's just, man, why would you rather have that? I'm not going to name names, obviously, but I'm like, I look at some of these players, I'm like, why would you rather have that dude who's averaging 3 points a game in the G League rather than Jamal Crawford? Like, I just don't understand. Like, last year for the Suns, he was pretty good. You know, put up 8 points a game coming off the bench. Before that, he was still really, really good in Minnesota and LA. So I just don't understand it, but whatever. So, yeah, that's a net situation. Just wanted to bring that up. I think that's really, really crazy. They have to be sharing bunk beds at this point for how many Brooklyn Nets players are testing positive. I believe, like, 5 of them tested positive when this whole thing started. So I don't even understand how many Brooklyn Nets players. Not sure how they keep on testing positive, but whatever. The NBA officially revealed the schedule to restart the season. A lot of very, important games on that schedule. We'll give our predictions somewhere closer to the start of the season because we are still, oh my God, we're still almost an entire month out. Jesus Christ.
We're still far away from the playoffs.
Oh my God. It feels surreal, like just how far away we are because we've been talking about this for so long. We've been so long without it. But in the grand scheme of things, we're not that far out. I think we're 3 weeks out. Preseason game should also be happening. So we're not too far out, but yeah, they revealed the schedule, which is going to start July 30th or July 29th? I think it's the 30th. But yeah, of the entire schedule that's been revealed, which are the top 3 games you're most excited for? Because there's a lot of very important games, and pretty much all of them are important right now because it's just the best teams that are left.
Oh man,
and Washington.
and Washington.
And the Suns, but I was not going to go there.
I mean, there's other teams on the West Coast who are there who are not there. You know what I mean? Like I think Portland's one of them. Come on, you can't hate on us that much. I mean, we're not the only ones, right?
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not hating, bro. You know how excited I am for the Phoenix Suns to make the playoffs.
Aren't we all though? Man, let me pull up the schedule. I had to look for it. I think I have it here. Maybe not. R.I.P.
Big rip.
I had to take. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's the stuff.
That's the stuff right there.
Let me see. Oh, dude, the opening night, dude, we already got it. I think we talked about it, dude. Just to start off, LA Clippers, Los Angeles Lakers. It's time to, just to set the tone. set the scene.
Yeah, for sure.
And then just for meme value, Washington versus Brooklyn
What
on
is that?
Sunday.
What is that?
It's Sunday 8-2.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. And then
Is that prime time? That should be prime time. No, it's 1 o'clock.
yeah.
Jesus Christ. It's
And-
like
and then-
we're the NFL now, boys. We're having games at 1 o'clock.
There you go. And then the last day, OKC versus LA Clippers.
Really?
Yeah, I like that game.
Huh. Well, personally for me, I've also got to go. I got to go LA versus LA. Here's the thing, right? I feel like there's a reasonable chance that the season. I really don't want to be the guy that says it, but the season may come to a close before the playoffs. Like, not before the playoffs, but before the season ends. Like, before the championship, all that stuff. I don't want to be the guy that says it, but with the way the coronavirus situation is happening right now, it's an absolute possibility. Now, all the players are going to be in a bubble. They're going to be tested all the time. But hypothetically, if too many of them test positive, it could come to a close. But with the whole bubble situation, reasonable chance that they won't get it. But that's the big caveat. At the same time, it may end up happening. I don't want to say it, but it may end up happening. So for right now, I feel like we're totally going to have the start of the season. And so with that, LA versus LA, the Battle of LA in Disney World in Miami.
Oh my God, what a title!
Right? LA versus LA, and technically Orlando, but whatever. I'm hyped for that one, man. I'm really, really hype. And then I gotta go OKC Utah. On August 1st. That is OKC's first game back. And we've had a rivalry with Utah for a while now, man. Ever since the playoff games a couple of years ago with Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles going off against Joe Ingles winning against PG. Wow. Playoff P my ass. Anyway, so yeah, that one's I'm really excited for. And then if I were to pick a final game, I believe the Bucks are playing the Raptors to close out the season, and I'm really excited for that one because I think that could be a really, really good preview of what the Eastern Conference Finals is going to look like. I don't want to jinx anything, but I really think the Raptors and Bucks is going to end up being the Eastern Conference Finals. So I'm going to pick that one. That's the second to last game for the Bucks and Raptors to close out the season. So, yeah, of all the games, those are the three I'm most excited for. Now, the news that just came out, I believe it was this morning, actually, or it was last night. The NBA is considering delaying broadcasts in order to censor trash talk. Now, part of the reason why I'm talking about this is because I brought it up a couple of weeks ago, actually. That's part of the reason a lot of people said it was super lame that the NBA is considering having fake crowd noise. The reason for that is they can't have the trash talk. And, but even then, is this the most lame move of the year that they're going to be censoring all the trash talk?
It is. It definitely is. Who doesn't want to hear, Patrick Beverly talk shit to literally everybody? I mean, we saw what he did on 2K. Imagine when he's in front of a real human being.
Fair enough. Would you rather have the fake crowd noise and be able to hear the slivers of dudes talking trash, or would you rather just end up have them delaying it and hear nothing? Because to me,
God, that sounds bad either way.
It would be insanely awkward
if it was just silent.
If it was just silence. Because if they're bleeping out trash talk, all we're going to hear is probably some commentators who probably won't even be at the fucking games. They'll probably be at some third-party place. So it'd be that'd be so weird. It'd be so bizarre. At this point, I would take fake crowd noise.
I guess you're right. I'd take fake crowd noise, too, at this point, too.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'd personally do. It's definitely the NBA is going to be weird, guys. It's going to be really weird to start the season. It's going to be really weird to end the season. Next season is going to be even weirder because we're probably going to have no fans again. But at the very least, at least have it better figured out for what they're going to do in that situation. But whatever. You come on and move on to the NFL talk. Very brief NFL talk. And it's kind of just more of a situation of when will the bad men go away? For my entire life, I've had to watch the New England Patriots dominate, right? Like, they had 2 dynasties. A dynasty is typically winning 3 championships either in the span of 3, 4, 5 years. That's what a dynasty is. They are once again, and finally, right, last year, Tom Brady, they get bounced in the first round by a 9-win Titans team. Everybody else was like, oh my God, the dynasty's finally over. They're finally done, right? Tom Brady leaves, he goes to the Bucs. Rob Gronkowski, he comes out of retirement. Technically, he was still a Patriot because he was still signed to the team, and he was gonna they had the rights of him if he was gonna decide to come back. He ends up going to the Buccaneers as well. Everybody's like, oh my God. At least it's going to be the Bucs winning, who, you know, are a franchise that have been pretty terrible over the last decade. Finally, the Patriots are done. Bill Belichick, he's going to be starting Brian Hoyer at quarterback. It's finally done. They're losing a lot of their weapons. They've lost the greatest quarterback of all time, arguably. Lost the greatest tight end of all time. And then, a couple days ago, I see the notification. I see the news. Cam Newton, the free agent quarterback who nobody wanted. Seemingly nobody wanted, right? Like, it's not even... It was bizarre because I know Cam's been injured, but it was only 4 years ago that he was the MVP of the league. And even then, in 2018, 24 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 68% passing, 500 yards on the ground. I don't need to go into all of his stats, but still, very solid quarterback. Last year, he was super injured, only played 2 games. But still, very solid QB, multiple-time Pro Bowler, former MVP. Been in the playoffs tons of times. I just get the notification that the Patriots signed him. Heartbreaking. They signed him for $1 million. Not only are they getting Cam Newton, they're getting Cam Newton at a point when they can still sign other free agents because they signed him for pennies on the dollar. Absolutely insane. Very heartbreaking. Angel, I know you're not the biggest NFL guy, and I kind of like talking about the NFL because you honestly, like, you're not the most educated guy, but even then, like, you can see, I'm sure even you understand how big of a deal this is.
I taste your anger, Josh. I taste it. I taste it through I hear it. I taste it. I literally taste it in the air. I feel your frustration. Your frustration is becoming my own.
I mean, I hope so, man. Well, here's the thing, right? They signed him for 1 year. Decent chance the NFL doesn't happen this year. So
you know it's bad when I know it's a big deal and I don't watch football.
I saw that and I'm like, man, you've got to be kidding me.
That's why I brought it up to you. I'm like, Josh, isn't this a big deal?
Yeah, it's like, and now we're seeing people are like, you know what, the right back in Super Bowl talks. And I'm like, God damn it.
Hopefully not. And they're going to San Antonio Brown again? Like, no, I was kidding.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up. I saw that Antonio Brown is in talks of teams.
With who? What are his big ones that we've heard?
I saw it was 2 teams. I can Google it very quickly. But I saw that, and I was really, really happy because, for better or for worse, the man's crazy, but he's very
good at football. He's also very good.
He's a Hall of Famer, and he's only 31. The dude is one of the most accomplished. Like, there's a lot of teams: Seahawks, 49ers, Bucks, supposedly, Packers. Just looking at Google right now, there's a lot of teams that want Antonio Brown.
Is there any team you think he would fit best with? I know that's not what you want to hear, Josh. I know that's not what you hear, but you know what I'm saying.
Listen, I would say Packers because of Aaron Rodgers. But they have I believe he's a first-year head coach, or he's a second-year head coach. Very young dude. I don't think Antonio Brown will respect that guy. Antonio Brown, whenever he played for the Patriots for 2 weeks, dude, shut up. He respected Bill Belichick. He didn't respect the dude who was coaching the Raiders, John Gruden. He didn't respect John Gruden. John Gruden's been mostly sitting doing Monday Night Football for the last decade.
He didn't listen to anybody.
No, I think him at the Buccaneers. Him with Tom Brady again, because he really looks like...
You're evil, Josh. What are you doing?
No, I'm not trying to speak it into existence, but, dude, come on. He worked with Tom Brady a lot. Tom Brady was apparently really pissed off when the Patriots cut Antonio Brown, which I thought was bizarre because he was facing rape accusations, but whatever. What? It's true. Like,
I mean, apparently that doesn't make a difference to some people.
I mean, like, listen, I don't know if he did it. I don't know what happened. But whenever you're facing multiple allegations of rape, probably best if you don't have that guy on your roster at the moment. You can re-sign him if he ends up being cleared, you know. But yeah, Tom Brady apparently didn't like it. That was a big deal in him leaving New England because they're like, they really don't want to give me anybody because they signed Antonio Brown. They released Demaryius Thomas. They ended up ended up trading Josh Gordon away. So he had no options. Like, he had nobody but Julian Edelman. It was a whole deal. Yeah, so I think Antonio Brown, again, I don't want to speak it into existence or anything. I think him going to Tampa Bay would be huge, man. I really think it would be. I think Bruce Arians, he's been a coach who's been around for a long time. He was one of the guys that led the Cardinals back into like being really, really good in the mid 2010s because, you know, he signed Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer was old as shit at the time. Larry Fitzgerald was old as shit. But he built a great defense, a great team, and I think he's going to do the exact same thing in Tampa Bay. He's the greatest coach of all time. He's the greatest tight end of all time. And if he signs one of the greatest wide receivers of all time in Antonio Brown, listen, I'm not sure if I'm on the hype train for the Tampa Bay because Robbie Gronkowski's coming off of a year of not playing. Tom Brady's really, really old. Like, we rarely see any quarterback playing into the ages that Tom Brady is right now. We only see, like, kickers and punters doing it. But Tom Brady,
man,
he is.
But dude, pass that ball.
Yeah, he can still pass that ball. He's still really, really good because of his play style. Like, he's very much he's a guy, like, he works in a system where it's like, get dudes open, get run after catch. But even then, he still has a really, really good arm. I think if they sign Antonio Brown, they would have 3 dudes who are all Pro Bowl level receivers. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, who in my opinion is the top 5 receiver at the moment, and Antonio Brown, who's also a top 5 wide receiver. Who the fuck would defenses cover, dude? Like, they had no... And then Rob Gronkowski's still there. And then they have O.J. Howard, who's also another great tight end. Like, if we're talking... Like, that would be one of the greatest offenses of all time. Has the potential to be one of the greatest offenses of all time. Like, if Antonio Brown signs with the Bucs, I think he fits so well there. But at the same time, I'm not sure which team wants to deal with this bullshit. I'm not sure, man. Like, I know you and I both wanted to get signed because I remember last year we were covering the whole saga and we literally never talked about the NFL. Because we've been
covering NFL sagas, dude. It started with the
Tyreek Hill
and Kareem Hunt situation, and then it became Antonio Brown. This is the only reason we ever talk about NFL. It's literally fucking drama.
Which, I mean, can you blame us?
It's been entertaining. Granted, 2 of those things were related to the team, to our hometown. But still.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, man, we gotta figure it's hard for us. Like, we talk about the NFL whenever there's drama, right? We talk about other stuff, but it's like, I don't see a circumstance because I just saw a baseball thing. I'm like, I don't ever see a circumstance where we talk about baseball because, you know, I was thinking about this the other day. Baseball has to be the most boring sport, and I love baseball, but it's like they don't even have a drama. At least the NFL, like,
yeah.
At least the NFL has insane amounts of drama with their players. NBA has drama. NBA has fun and drama.
UFC has drama.
UFC has drama, fun, entertainment, great sport to watch. Baseball has nothing. Like, it's just, I don't even know. Like I was talking with my buddy the other day, and he's like, "Man, you guys should talk about baseball on the podcast." I'm like, fuck no. Like, I'm like, just
who would ever talk about baseball on the podcast?
Like, I don't ever see that happening. Like, even when
God bless anybody who has a podcast about baseball. No hate.
Like, God bless. I'll watch it. I've been watching Korean baseball, but even then, Korean baseball is more fun because they juice the balls. So it's like, it's just. Anyways, to move on from the NFL talk, which actually I love talking about the NFL, man, but it's like. It's just a tough thing to talk about when there's not anything happening at the moment. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about it when the coronavirus stuff starts happening with the NFL because that's going to be insane because you know for a fact they're going to get hit hard by it. But to move on to boxing, somebody else is getting hit hard. Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He's a big baby, and he really likes ingesting steroids, apparently. He tested positive for the 4th time. 4 times this man has tested positive for banned substances, okay? He tested positive 3 times for Anthony Joshua. He's supposed to, you know, it's insane to think about, right? This man was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Garden well over a year ago. He falls out because he tests positive for steroids 3 times. Andy Ruiz steps in and makes one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. If Jarrell Miller was a better dope fiend, like if he was just better at hiding it, it's insane to think about the world that we'd be living in. But, I mean, let me ask you this, because he was scheduled to fight July 9th against Jerry Forrest. He got signed to Top Rank, and probably, I'm sure pennies on the dollar, because not a whole lot of people want to deal with the guy at the moment. And then he tested positive again. Very rarely are we in this territory with boxers. We have some dudes test positive more than a few times. I know, who was it? Luis Ortiz tested positive like 3 times, 3 times. Lucas Brown tested positive a couple times. But they've never tested positive 4 times. Where I saw people talking about it online. Should he be banned?
Yeah, I mean, you got an extremely good argument. 4 times, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's important to note here, the reason why he wasn't suspended for longer is I saw some people were like, wait a minute, he tested positive 3 times? Why is he not even being suspended for longer? Like, I saw people talk about this, like, whenever they saw he was supposed to be fighting in July. They're like, wait a minute, a year ago, this dude tested positive for everything in the medicine cabinet. Why is he fighting a year later? It's because he tested positive out of competition, so New York really couldn't do much. New York State Athletic Commission could not do much to really stop him. Now he tested positive, and it's really close to the fight. So Nevada, who hates dope fiends, they really, really do. Nevada hates dudes who dope. They hate anybody who tests positive. They suspended Nick Diaz for life, not like 4 years ago, because he tested positive for weed. So I think there's a legitimate possibility that he ends up being banned.
Imagine if he was doing Adderall.
Yeah, I think there's a legitimate possibility he ends up being banned. I'm not sure about who, though, because dudes just go fight in Europe. They can go fight in Germany. They can go fight wherever. So even if he ends up being banned, it really doesn't mean much outside of the fact that he will not get any big fights and he will not be fighting in the U.S.
Yeah, pretty rough.
Very rough for him. But I saw that Carlos Takam was actually going to step in against Jerry Forrest on July 9th. Jerry Forrest, relatively unknown kid. He's 26-3, I believe. But Carlos Takam is, in my opinion, way better than Jarrell Miller. He's been around in the game for longer. He has bigger wins. He's been around for a long time. 39 years old. Is this a better fight than the original scheduled fight with Jarrell Miller and Jerry Forrest?
I mean, we were talking about a relatively unknown guy who's fighting like probably one of his more well-known. I mean, prior to this, he fought a guy who was 3-25. To give you an idea. So, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to like here, and it's not like he's a young 20-year-old kid coming up. This is a 32-year-old man fighting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? There could be some entertainment value. There's a couple times where you got a couple of these guys who, put on a good showing. But as far as anything beyond that, I mean, maybe there's nothing here too special to see. But who knows? It can end up being good. At the end of the day, Takham's a name, and maybe Jerry Forrest shows up and does something exciting.
Yeah. Carlos Takam, according to BoxRank, ranked 37th in the world. Pretty surprising to me. I thought he'd be a lot higher. But still, he's a guy. He's been around for a long time. I'm hyped to see him because here's the thing. Since boxing has came back, we've had some good dudes fight. Shakur Stevenson, Emil Navarrete, which we did not talk about in the podcast. Emil Navarrete was fighting in Mexico, and the reason why we did not talk about it is because it was the closest thing we've seen to a mismatch slaughter. It was the worst mismatch on paper I've ever seen in my entire life. The man he was fighting, I apologize for not remembering his name. But Emil Navarrete, current champion, right? Fought on the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury rematch undercard literally a few months ago, which is insane to think about. That only happened a few months ago. But the kid he was fighting, Emil Navarrete, he was 13-1. That's why we did not talk about it. But and then Shakur Stevenson, he was fighting a dude he was a can as well. So what you're having is these situations where it's like dudes who are just fighting cans. Carlos Takam is a guy, and Jerry Forrest is not terrible. Like, he's ranked 55th by BoxRank, but I'm way more excited. This is like the best boxing match we've gotten to this point, which is a little bit depressing when I put it in those terms. But still the best boxing match we've got at this point, so I'm really hyped for it.
Well, I do have some light to shine on us. Do you know that Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez is set to happen this year now?
Okay, but when in this year?
September 19th is their super rumored date, according to Bob Arum.
Well, I'm hyped for that. I'm excited for that for sure. But did you know that Alexander Povetkin and Dillian White just got set for August 22nd?
Holy shit!
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Wait a minute. Have we talked about what's happening with Matchroom and where they're having fights?
No, where are they having fights?
In Eddie Hearn's backyard. I'm dead serious. You can go to Eddie Hearn's Instagram page. I'm dead serious. You can go to his Instagram page. They built a ring at Eddie Hearn's estate.
I mean, they have Fight Island at this point. What should I even be laughing? I mean, that's true, right?
I mean, no. Wait, here's the thing, right? Fight Island is an actual like it's Yas Island. They said they were building an island. They did not build an island. They built a thing on Yas Island where they've had fights before. They literally are having Matchroom boxing in Eddie Hearn's backyard. They built a boxing ring and everything. Like, you should really go to the Instagram right now. And that's where we're going to see two of the greatest heavyweights, two top 10 guys facing off. That's where it's going to happen. That's insane. But, actually, one more last thing, since we were talking about fight announcements, the date gets moved every other day, and I hate talking about it at this point because it's really just pointless. Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury 3 is now set for December 19th.
My goodness.
They just keep on moving him back because they want fans, but it's not going to happen.
They want fans, which is fine, but also this is just helping Wilder do recover, which is really good. Like, this is probably the best situation that could have happened for Wilder instead of, coming back 4 months later and fighting again.
Yeah, it's insane to think about the turnaround because we talked about it a little bit here, but it's like to turn around 4 months after getting he didn't get knocked out, but he took a lot of damage, right? Like, he got knocked down twice.
He would have fought last month.
Yeah, which is insane to me because, like, it wasn't that long ago that Wilder and Fury had the rematch. But he took a lot of damage, man. Like, Tyson, I understand some people are like, he doesn't have the most power. Tyson Fury's pillow fist, blah, blah, blah. But, like, he still took a lot of damage, bro. Like, he took a lot of punches to the head, and he was pretty clearly concussed from, like, round 3 on. Like, the second he got hit with that overhand right that landed on the ear, he had no equilibrium. Like, he stumbled around the ring for the next 5 rounds. So it was really, really bad. But now he's in a position where he's not just getting time off. He's getting a lot of time off. And he's probably going to be facing a Tyson Fury who hasn't been able to train as much. And, in the U.S., people have been training pretty consistently this entire time because nobody cares about the coronavirus here, which is part of the reason why we're in this circumstance where they're going to have to fight in December. But that's working to Wilder's advantage. That's definitely really, really crazy, man. But that fight expected to go down December 19th probably will be pushed back again because they pushed it back from July to September to October to December. So I'm expecting by next week it'll be January, and by August it'll probably be March, and then trilogy will probably never happen, which is annoying because I kind of wanted them to get it out of the way. It's probably sometime in September because that means we can set up Joshua and Fury, but due to coronavirus and due to the fact that Matchroom really does not want to do. Wait a minute, I just completely messed it up. Top Rank's the one who's promoting Tyson Fury. I'm really, really dumb, guys. I'm sorry, I'm tired. They're the ones that are wanting to have fans for that fight, and as a result, they're pushing it back. And the uncomfortable reality of the situation is, February is whenever the vaccine is expected to be in the, we're getting in the testing stages of human beings are starting to be tested with it. But we're still in such a far away point from having a vaccine that's widespread. I wouldn't expect fans in the U.S. to be allowed anytime soon, probably not even until the summer of next year. So if they're looking to do that fight, probably have to wait till the summer of next year in the U.S. But, Angel, do we got anything else for this week?
I believe not.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening as always. Courtside Sound. We've been having a really, really good last 2 months, especially on YouTube, bro. The YouTube, I love you guys so much. But so shout out to all you people for your support. Courtside Soundoff available on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you can find a podcast, you can probably find us. Courtside Sound 1 on Twitter. Twitter's been doing pretty good. 1,100 followers. Appreciate every single one of you guys. And then also available on Facebook and Instagram, which I'm trying to update the Instagram a little bit more, but at the same point, there's not a whole lot to post on there as of right now. But thank you guys for listening as always. I'm at Josh Shevenoff on Twitter if you guys want to follow me directly, and he's at Angel Ortega _01. Thank you guys for listening, so peace and bug grease. Mouse click.